From the markings, we know it's isosceles. And if these are the two equal sides, then it means this down here is the base, which means our base angles have to be congruent. So by that part alone, we know that x has to equal 50 degrees. And then for y, if we add our two base angles together, we get 100, and subtract that from 180, we'll get the remaining degree measurement that has to be y. Now on number 33, what kind of triangle do you see in 33? Is it isosceles? What is it? It's equilateral. So equilateral means all the sides are the same. So that means 2x minus 5 will have to equal 8, as well as y plus 3 will have to equal 8. So if we add 5 to both sides on the on the x equation, we'll get 13, and then when we divide by 2, we get 13 halves, which you could also write as 6½ if you would like. Either of these answers are okay. And then on our second equation, we'll subtract 3 to both sides. We get y is equal to 5. Now on 34, what kind of triangle do you have here? Anybody? What kind of triangle? Isosceles, okay. So if these are your two equal sides, then this is your base, meaning your base angles are both x. So how can we find out what x is? Well, I noticed that this outside angle 115 and this inside angle x make a straight line. So I know that 115 plus x has to add up to 180, because that's what a straight line measures. So if we subtract 115 to both sides, let's see, we'll get 65. So that means x would be 65. Then to find y, it's similar to 32. We'll do 180 minus the sum of the two base angles. So 65 and 65 is 135. No, no, 130. So our vertex angle will be 50 degrees. Any questions so far on the isosceles triangle problems? All right. Back page, last few. So 35. Do we know if this is an isosceles triangle or not? No. But can we find out? Yes. How can we find out? So what can we do to figure out if it's isosceles or not? Add the angles we know together. So 69 plus 42. And we get 111. And if we subtract that from 180, we get 69. So our missing angle here is 69. So since these are the two angles that are congruent, this side here is our base. That also means that's the side that's the extra information. We can cross it off, and we can set the other two sides, the 2x plus 25, equal to the 5x minus 2. Move the x's together, move the constants together. 27 equals 3x. Divide both sides by 3, and you would get x is equal to 9. On 36, we can do the same kind of thing. We have to figure out first where's the base. So which side is the base on this picture?
The base is 3x minus 1.
Good, so the base is the side that connects the two congruent angles. Cross that off, that's your extra information. We're going to take just the two sides we know that have to be equal to one another. So 5x plus 2 equals 7x minus 4. Set them equal and start solving for x. So moving the x's together and moving the constants together, divide both sides by 2, you get x is equal to 3. Okay, 37, we're again still dealing with our isosceles triangles. So the first question, is this isosceles? Yes, okay. Which side is the base?
20.
The 20. So then that means these two angles, the base angles, have to equal each other. So I can call them both x. So how might we solve for x, or the base angles? If we do 180 minus our vertex angle, and then divide evenly in half for the two congruent base angles, we get that each of them is 65 degrees. (38) is similar to 35, where we need to find our missing angle to figure out which side is our base. So if we add together the two angles we know and subtract it from 180, we get 72. The side that has the two 72-degree angles, that's your base. So that means our extra information is 5x minus 1. So we set the two sides left equal to one another. So you would end up with x is equal to 7. Okay, two more here. 39, again, we want to look at which side is it isosceles, and if it is, what side is the base? So Abby, what do you think? Is it isosceles? Which side is the base? Okay, so how does that help us find x if that's our base? Samantha, what do you think?
You take 180 and subtract it from 68.
Alright, 180 minus 68.
You get 112 divided by 2.
Okay, so because our base angles are both x, we need to evenly divide them, divide the remaining degrees. Whoops. And we would get each of those base angles is 56 degrees. And finally, number 40. Again, we need to find the missing angle before we can decide what two sides are equal to one another. So if we add the two sides or the two angles we know together and subtract from 180, let's see. No, did I add those wrong? 122. Okay. So 180 minus 122 would give us 58, meaning this is our base. So it's the other two sides that are equal. So here we get x is equal to -7. Thank you.